Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us, and that helps the bands, artists, and music that we feature. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. So, ladies and gentlemen, man, what a day yesterday. We got the news from one of our favorite bands, Goose, that they are returning for the 12th year of Goosemas. This year it is happening December 12th and 13th at the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence, Rhode Island. So tickets to the general public go on sale Friday, July 25th at 10 a.m. And I will have a link in this episode for you. The poster is kind of this purplish and black. It kind of has a Halloween kind of theme to it. So who knows? There's this kind of shadow of a woman with this fencing, and then you kind of have this like wooden kind of makeshift kind of sign that they kind of have the poster as. And then it says at the bottom, one prize per player per day, no leaning. So carnival games could be something like that. So, of course, they have the TED and the Super TED, all that stuff. That actually began today at 10 a.m., as well as the travel packages for those of you that are not on the East Coast. So the reason I wanted to do this episode today for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, is talk about maybe why they picked this arena in particular, why they picked Providence, and why, um, just some details about the show and about like just some history about this venue. And yeah, again, some reasons maybe why they picked where they picked. So let's dive right into it. So on January 17th, 1973, after 13 years of referendums, design, and development, Rhode Island officially had a sports and entertainment venue called the Providence Civic Center. And it is hosted over 7,000 events and over 38 million guests, with Johnny Cash being the first artist to perform there. Now, since 2002, the arena was called the Dunkin' Donuts Center, or the Dunkin' Center for short. And since 2022, it's now called the Amica Mutual Pavilion, or more familiar to the people who've gone there, it's called the AMP. Now, this venue holds 14,000 for concerts. So for 2 nights in December, we are going to get to see 28,000, hopefully, Goose fans to participate at Goosemas. Now, in 2008, there were some major renovations and upgrades to the arena, and it is conveniently located right off of Interstate 95 in downtown Providence, and the Providence River flows through it. Now, you might not guess this, but the three bands that hold the crown of the most times playing at this arena, they have played 19 times. So Goose after Goosemas will be at 2. So they're going to have some work to do to get to the most. But the three bands that are tied for 19, one of them I think you would figure out, but the other two I think are probably surprises. We've got Aerosmith, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and the Grateful Dead, all with 19 appearances at this arena. So let's talk about some historical moments at this arena, which as you'll see, are pretty cool, pretty cool. So on July 21st, 1973, Led Zeppelin performs at their only performance ever in Rhode Island. And Jimmy Page says it's one of the best shows of the tour. We then go the next year, June 26th of 1974, the Grateful Dead record the first 11 tracks of their live album Dick's Picks Volume 12 at this Civic Center from their second set and the encore after playing at the Civic Center in September of 73. Now, other bands who have had live recordings released from concerts performed at this arena include Eric Clapton, David Bowie, The Kinks, and a band you might have heard of, Phish. Phish has played at this arena 8 different times, and they have recorded 3 live recordings, including Live Phish Volume 20 from their 1994 show and 2 shows from the 1998 Island Tour that happened back to back in April. On May 23rd, 1977, Elvis Presley plays his third and final time at the Civic Center and will pass away 3 months later at the age of 42. And then finally, ladies and gentlemen, on March 17th and 18th, 1984, Van Halen filmed part of their Panama video over their 2-night stand and play the same 20-song set list both nights. I think we all know we can guarantee that that will not happen during Goosemas. So, again, something that we can take for granted sometimes. So now fast forward to 2025, and the arena itself has had a really sparse schedule of concerts this year, as I only count Barry Manilow in May and Creed and Daughtry in August. The Providence Friars men's basketball team, it is their home arena, and they do have a home game on December 9th. But that gives the boys 3 days to get everything ready for night 1. So let's talk about why Goose would choose Providence, Rhode Island, and this venue in particular to host this year's Goosemas. And kind of in the history, you might be able to figure out why, one of the reasons why. So first of all, the size of this venue. It is 14,000 people. It is a perfect size for an indoor venue with the size of venues that Goose can now accommodate. I mean, case in point, some of the venues on the fall tour hold 7,500, 8,000, and at the Man, it's 12,000. And of course, Madison Square Garden was a sellout. The number 2 reason, I think, is the proximity to their home. You know, it's been 6 years since Goosemas has been this close to home for the Connecticut boys when they played the Wall Street Theater in Norwalk, Connecticut for Goosemas 6. After a long year of touring, I'm sure it will be nice to be able to drive home after the 2-night stint instead of getting on a plane. The third reason, I think, is obviously the history of the venue. You know, they could have played at Mohegan Sun again. They could have played at the SNHU Arena. They could have played at the People's Bank Arena or even Mass Mutual Center. But they chose this venue, I think, because of the Dead and Phish connection, and that so many bands and artists have recorded live albums over the years at this historic venue, so the sound must be decent for an arena, and that's all I can just surmise from that. And number 4, I think, is interesting. It's interesting that for the second Goosemas in a row, The boys have decided to play a venue that is not owned by Live Nation, as the North Charleston Coliseum is also not owned by Live Nation. I would assume they would make out better financially as well on these concerts without their involvement, but I can't be completely sure of that. So, in the comments, if you know, please let me know. And then finally, what is the theme going to be this year? Does the poster give us all the answers, or are they going to throw us a curveball? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think, because it seemed like the Goose crowd, at least on social media and on Facebook, they kind of nailed it with this being here, either at least in Providence or at least in Rhode Island. Maybe not at this venue. So kudos to you fans out there for hitting that. But I think this is why they are doing it, and I give you a list of reasons. So there you have it. Goosemas 2025 at the Amica Mutual Pavilion on December 12th, December 13th this year. My oh my, in Providence, Rhode Island. That is a Friday night and Saturday night. So you get to recover on Sunday. Like I said, tickets went on sale this morning for the Super Ted and Ted and the travel packages. The public on sale is Friday, uh, the 25th. So get those tickets because they are going to be in demand. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us and that helps the bands, artists, and any music news that we feature. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dogg. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.